never thought learning French in grade school would help me, but here I am now. Bonjour, je m'appelle Youssef, and these are 10 scary French urban legends that will shock you. Make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, let's get to it. Number 10, the Court of Miracles. The Court of Miracles was a large medieval society that once resided in the Parisian slums and was also known as such. People had a preconceived notion that the slums were a site of absolute destruction and disorder, where night walkers, criminals, the homeless, sick, and elderly were huddled together to live out the remainder of their finite lives. However, according to legend, the settlements lost their identities as soon as night fell each evening. The Court of Miracles' entire premise was exposed as a sympathy scheme to convince the wealthy to part with their money during the day while the old became young, the ill recovered, and the insane decreased. Number 9, the catacombs. One of Paris's most eerie locales, the catacombs, is the source of numerous urban legends, obviously. The video camera that was discovered in the 1990s is the one that scares me the most. In one of the tunnels, a group of researchers discovered a video camera, and they watched the film. It showed a man urgently trying to find a way out of the tunnels, and it was obvious he was going insane since he couldn't. The camera is dropped abruptly, and then odd noises start to play. The tape then ends. Since the discovery of the tape, neither the man's identity nor any bodies have been located. Number 8, kidney thieves. A drunken Parisian man once walked home after a night out, leaving his front door unlocked. The next morning, he awoke naked in his bathtub, encircled by ice. A phone and a sign that read, "Do not move and call an ambulance immediately," were placed next to the bathtub. Champagne and a payment from the health insurance were also present. His kidney removal was confirmed by the paramedics, and as payment, he was given free hospital care and surgery. Due to the unusual circumstances, he was also put at the top of the donor list. The man miraculously acquired a kidney match on that day. Doctors were suspicious when they discovered that the donor kidney was indeed the kidney he had lost the previous evening. In addition, he received 30,000 euros in compensation for the medical expenses. His final words were, "No one will ever believe this," and he later passed away after tripping on some dog waste. Number 7, the Phantom of the Opera. One of Paris's most well-known legends, the Phantom of the Opera, has ties to Opera Garnier's past. The Salle Pelletier fire, which was the forerunner of the Opera Garnier, damaged musician Ernest in 1873. The unhappy man fell into a deep depression after losing his friend in the catastrophe. Hopeless, Ernest made the decision to withdraw from society and hid in the basement of the Opera Garnier, which was being built at the time. Ernest lived out the remainder of his days in the building's shadowy crevices, where he passed away. He ate the fish from the opera's basement lake while screaming in anguish behind the scenes. Since his disappearance, the Opera Garnier had witnessed a number of odd events. A machinist was discovered hanged, but the rope mysteriously vanished. A chandelier fell during a performance, instantly ending the patron in seat number 13. And what could be simpler than blaming the Phantom of the Opera, who would reportedly still prowl the halls of the illustrious theater. Number 6, the Baker and Barber of Ile de la Cite. This tale transports us back in time to the Ile de la Cite in medieval Paris. There, a short distance from Notre-Dame, a barber frequently hosted international students who were staying at nearby cannons. Although there were many attacks during that period of extreme sorrow, one of these young people would occasionally inexplicably vanish. Thus, it was only logical to assume that they were the victims. In addition, these young individuals had no family in Paris to ask for them because they were traveling a great distance for their education. But then a strange thing happened one day. In front of the baker's door, whose business was adjacent to the barber shop, a dog had been wailing for several days. His master, a German student, was still at his hair appointment. When the police arrived on the scene and decided to investigate, they uncovered the grisly discovery of a sordid collaboration. Number 5, Le Rocher de la sorcière. The Bohemian district of Montmartre is home to many Parisian tales, including the fabled Rocher de la sorcière. This towering rock is situated in the center of the charming tunnel known as the Tunnel de la Sorcière, which is located behind Rue Le Pec in a small private alley. But what's the backstory here? A strange older woman who lived in one of the manors in this route in the 19th century used to terrify the people who dared to hang around there. Because of her hideous appearance, the neighborhood people began to refer to her as the witch, la sorcière in French. It would be an antique fountain known as La Sorcière, which is a mysterious rock with a bizarre and huge shape. It didn't take long for it to be christened the Witch's Rock, due to its proximity to the witch's ancient manor and extremely odd shape. Number 4. Countess Demidoff's tomb. One of Paris's most stunning cemeteries is Père Lachaise. Additionally, it is a location rich in legends, such as the one involving Countess Demidoff. The fact that she is interred in a white marble sarcophagus encircled by 10 Doric columns is observed by the nearby tombs. In her will, she left her entire estate, or roughly 2 million rubles, to the first person who would arrive and stand guard behind her grave for a full year and a half. The only activity permitted in the grave is reading, and her guardian is only permitted 1 hour per day of outings, which must occur during the cemetery's closing hours. The Countess was quite accommodating, and food was brought right to the grave. Number 3. The Seine's unknown lady. A young woman's body was pulled from the Seine in Paris around the end of the 19th century. In the hopes that a loved one might recognize it, the body was brought to the mortuary, which was at the time situated on the Ile de la Cite. The pathologist determined that it was a self-unalive after finding no evidence of violence. An employee of the establishment, entranced by the beauty and tranquility of her face, made the decision to mold a demise mask of the woman right onto her. The unknown of the Seine became well known among artists for its tranquil beauty and the enigmatic passing that lay beneath it after this mask was later sold all over the world. Ironically, this mask was used as a template to create the renowned first aid doll that we all used to practice first aid techniques. She is now the woman who has been kissed the most in history. Number 2. The Devil's Gates of Notre-Dame. Visitors will be able to appreciate the impressive work on the side doors of the cathedral once it is more feasible to visit Notre-Dame. The building of Notre-Dame was nearly finished in the 14th century, excluding a few minor details. Biscornet, a talented young ironworker at the time, was given the job of decorating the side doors of Notre-Dame. Despite his brilliance, he was frightened at the size of the assignment because the time allotted to him was inadequate. The devil then showed up to him and made a deal with the ironworker. In exchange for his soul, he would assist him in doing this job. Having little hesitation, Biscornet's blood signed this demonic contract. The day before the deadline, the door decoration was far from complete, despite Biscornet's efforts and endless working days. He passed out in the middle of his task because he was worn out and disappointed. The ironwork was mysteriously complete and of unparalleled finesse when he awoke. The doors were an incredible wonder, and Satan had kept his word. However, the magnificent doors would not open on the day the cathedral was dedicated in 1345. They needed holy water to be applied in order to be unlocked. The same day, Biscornet vanished without a trace. Number 1. The Haunted Mansion on Avenue Frochot. In the Pigalle neighborhood of Paris 9, there is a beautiful little cul-de-sac called Avenue Frochot. This street is bordered with stunning private residences that are now surrounded by a fence and were previously the homes of well-known artists from the 19th and 20th century. Given that it is said to be haunted, the villa at number 1 is especially intriguing. Executions and tragedies occurred at this mansion. The removal of a villa chambermaid at the start of the 20th century is said to be the cause of this omen. The place is said to be haunted by her ghost, and ever since, all the homeowners have been subjected to the servants' afflictions. One could still hear ominous sounds at night. Thanks for watching. Those were 10 scary French urban legends that will shock you. Leave a like and comment if you think we missed anything, and we hope you have a scary day.